Can that be done? There's studies out there and other lawmakers who are saying you need Planned Parenthood. You don't have the infrastructure to take up the rest of the needs. That saying it's all about abortion is misleading. But those videos have people fired up that show Planned Parenthood employees talking in ugly ways about what's done with fetal tissue. Someone who is outraged, who wants change, even if it means shutting down the government, is Congressman Diane Black, one of the Republicans fighting for the bill on the other side of the Hill. She represents Tennessee, joins us now. Congressman, good to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
It's good to be with you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Josh Earnest, White House press secretary. I asked him about this. He said, we're going to veto anything that gets in the way of what Planned Parenthood does. Very necessary. He also said he had not seen the videos himself. Do you find that unacceptable?
I do find it unacceptable. Those videos have been out there, and if he's going to be talking about it, he ought to at least know what's on the videos before he makes those comments.
Now, I did not challenge him about whether or not he watched the video because, frankly, he is a press spokesperson and he puts out the White House position. However, I'll talk to you about the videos because you are advocating for a change. Those videos have been maligned by both sides as being selectively edited and showing something that is legal and a long ongoing practice. Do you believe that those videos are being taken out of context? If not, why?
No, I do not, and let me tell you why, Chris. I had the opportunity to be able to view those videos with full video footage before they actually showed them to the public. And if you go back and you can go and see that full video coverage. If you go onto the internet, you can see it's not a cut and paste. This is actually what is happening, full conversations. And anybody who has any conscience at all should be appalled by the activity that's on that video, the callous, cavalier attitude about life and what they're doing to life. So I can tell you that it is not a cut and paste.
But how they do their job at Planned Parenthood, okay? Let's say that's worthy of criticism. They talked about fetal tissue, babies, in ways that was undignified, that made them seem like just objects, that made it seem like it was about the money. Let's say that's all true. That does not change that what is done in terms of using tissue for research and being reimbursed is something that you've long been aware of, Congressman, has long been legal, and is certainly not cause for outrage, or at least hasn't been until now.
Okay, Chris, so let's break that down a little
Please.
bit. First of all, I'm a nurse, and I've been a nurse for more than 40 years,
Yes,
so I've
ma'am.
been in this industry for a long time. There are a couple of things that are a problem here. One is that the NIH Revitalization Act says that you cannot alter or in any way alter the timing or the procedure that is done in order to for the sole purpose of harvesting tissue. And we see in this video they do talk about doing that. The doctors actually talk about, well, if you need a heart or a lung or a liver, we can do a less procedure. Or one of the doctors, Nicotola, says, we'll crunch above and we'll crunch below. That is against that act. So the second thing is the selling of organs. We know very clearly that, yes, organs are harvested and for an administrative fee, but they cannot be sold. But when you see these two doctors that are negotiating, and one of them actually talking about they needing a Lamborghini, if there were no profit from this, why would they just not say, here's our administrative fee, here's how much it costs us to harvest it, store it, transport it? You wouldn't be having a negotiation for that particular part.
Understood. Understood.
The third piece is on the partial birth abortion. When Dr. Nicotola says that it's up to interpretation, and it really doesn't matter in the end. That is very suspicious. So should we not be investigating what's going on at Planned Parenthood? I believe we should.
You ask a very interesting question, which is, should you be investigating? The answer easily can be yes. It's within your purview. But that's not really what you're doing, is it? You're saying you want to defund. Why not investigate first, then decide whether or not Nicotola and these others are talking about practices that actually happen and happen in a way that are exclusive of the existing regulations, and then decide what the appropriate action to be, whether or not funding or not, and how to done. Because as you know, to say that Planned Parenthood, as Joni Ernst did, the slack can easily be picked up, you can still get these same women the help they need, you know that that's misleading at best.
That is not misleading. As a matter of fact, let me tell you why I know it's not misleading is because here in the state of Tennessee, where I live, we were able to get that money. There are over 1,200 federally qualified health departments across this country. We were able to get the same services, the same amount of money coming to the state of Tennessee. And by the way, providing those preventative health services women need with things that Planned Parenthood doesn't have that they once said they had, like mammograms. So we know it is possible. It's been done here in the state of Tennessee and other states.
But you know that in other states it's very difficult to do. I'm looking at a study right now from 2012 that's saying that, for instance, in Texas, that too many women, thousands, would lose, especially low-income women, that's what we're talking about here, would lose access, that many of these clinics are an hour and a half away, that only 3% of what Planned Parenthood does is abortions, and they don't use tax dollars for that. I mean, you know, you're smiling while I say it, but you know that these are serious issues, and you shouldn't just rush to defund, should you?
These are very serious issues, and it's very serious when Planned Parenthood, who performs over 327,000 abortions a year, they get $500 million of the taxpayer money, and that money could be given to these other clinics. And I will tell you that there is a lot of competition out there to get the money. And part of the reason why these health clinics that are federally qualified don't even want to try is because they have been cut out of that funding previously. We saw it happen here in the state of Tennessee, and there's so much misinformation out there, and I want to set that record straight. I want to see the study that you're referencing, but I know from my personal experience as a nurse and someone who has served in the state legislature that we did this here in the state of Tennessee, and it can be done across this entire nation to give good preventative health care to women.
Well, but that's one of the parts of the mission of Planned Parenthood, right? I mean, that is Senator Bob Casey, who shares your opinions about abortion, does not share his opinion about the bill because he says many of the preventative measures that they use keep the number of unwanted pregnancies down. And the study is called Deteriorating Access to Women's Health Services in Texas, and it was done by a number of female authors. October 11, 2012. I'll pass it down to the office. We're very comfortable following this story up. We want to make sure we track the process. There are big questions here, Representative, and we appreciate you being on New Day to outline them.
Well, you're very welcome, and my bill just simply says let's stop the funding until we have investigated what's on these films, and then if there's nothing there, they get the money back.
But because the need is so great, the question is, should you switch that? Investigate first and then figure out funding. But thank you, ma'am, for being on. We look forward to having you on again.
You're very